well, but I know, but I mean,
it can be frustrating. I do feel some people's pain, particularly if you're watching too. You want to see action, you want to see some blood, and you see people checking it down. It can be a little bit interesting spot
look
here.
at this.
Very
So
interesting spot
Chris
here.
is open to 65, and Yana, we only saw her play sixes here, has flat called with black kings. So just kings here, 65 and a call. Playing a little bit of a trap, and that's going to bring the big blind and the third blind in, so 4 ways. Well, Ron's flopped top pair, Chris with the flush draw and backdoors, and Yana with the overpair. So this one could get interesting. It's going to be interesting to see here. I imagine Chris is going to c-bet, and what will Yana do from behind here with just calling with black kings?
You got to imagine she's just going to call. If you call pre, I imagine she's going to keep her hand disguised. I don't necessarily see a raise coming here, but
she does
I'm
raise.
wrong.
She does raise. So 120 here to 300. Now, Chris, is it possible that Chris might level himself into thinking that she's doing this with just 10 and somehow play this draw fast? I mean, he's going to at least call. You wouldn't think she has many 4s here. Thank you, Minecraft's player 57891. No block on the sub. You can call me whatever names you want as long as you keep donating to Live at the Bike. It's all good.
I guess the one thing that might cause Chris a little bit of concern is that she did raise with a bunch of players behind her.
Yeah, next to act, yeah.
So being sexy.
And he does just call. So 865 to the turn.
King of Hearts would be an interesting card.
Oh, how about the 3 of hearts?
That'll work too.
Yep. And she checks it back. So she's going to need to catch a king here. River is a 5, and I imagine this is going to go bet call. Let's see how much Chris is going to bet here. 865 in the pot. Looks like he's firing maybe 575? Wow,
maybe
525? 525.
Wow.
And she makes the call. And Chris will take it down. Chris is going to open it here to 125. Over a few limps in a straddle pot with pocket 8s.
I mean, saying that, when you're deep in a big online tournament and you lose ace-king versus ace-queen, you know, a couple off the final table, there's definitely a little part of your brain that wants to rip stuff apart, and I've had a couple of pieces of furniture that have been punched, but...
Well, you see so many hands online, too, it probably goes really quick. Could be beat after beat. Now, we see a 3-bet here from Eli out of the straddle against Chris's button open at 10s. I like that against Chris's range probably here.
I think so. You want to get this hand heads up.
Yep.
I think you're going to take control of the hand, and you would expect Chris to continue fairly light, so you're going to have a pretty decent range advantage in this spot too.
So 300 more here for Chris to call.
Is this Eli's straddle hand?
Yes.
All
All right, we got a pot.
So not playing all that deep effective with the straddle, starting with about 3,000. Jack 7-6 here. So both players just looking at one overcard. Let's see what Eli's sizing is. Looks like he's going to size down. I like it. And I imagine Chris is going to continue on as he has backdoor straighting possibilities. Could have the best hand.
I think for 1/3 pot, this is a mandatory call, really.
Weirdo. Weirdo.
I mean, if Chris calls here, this could just sort of get checked down, depending on what cards come.
That's your fucking opinion.
I'm going to throw this at your forehead.
No.
Yeah, it's hard to see Eli.
Wow, Chris is going to raise. Very, very unorthodox. He min raises. Now, I used to see this play like an old school play, Gethin, way back in the day where people used to raise the flop for pot control.
Kind of stop the action.
Yeah, and then they just kind of check back here. Protection / pot control.
With those kind of like the ace-jack, king-jack kind of hands where they're like, I think I probably got the best hand, maybe I get a little value, but I don't want to face 3 big streets.
I mean, it might, I was going to say, it could accidentally work here because the one hand that Eli has that he continues on with that's not a jack is 10s, and he has it. Or that he makes that bet with and possibly folds, but I don't know if he's going to fold to a min-range. Wow, a 3-bet! Wow!
We should stop making predictions because apparently
Yeah.
we are not on the same page.
We're not doing really well with the predictions. So a 3-bet to 1,500. 300 to 750, so to 350 to 700 to 1,500. Click, click, and a click, sort of. Well, I guess it's more than a click on the turn as the third bet, but
You know it's a good game when you can see all the cards and you still don't necessarily understand what's going on. I think he's made a good adjustment. This isn't the table that you're going to walk over. These aren't players who are scared to put money in. Harry's not going to back down. Ron's not going to back down. Eli's not going to back down. I think he's adjusted correctly to the player pool that he's actually facing right now.
got a raise here by Chris under the gun to 60. Ron is going to call here with 9-6 of clubs. Big Al in there with 8-6 suited. I think Derek has folded. So we're going to see it three ways here. Well, ace, deuce, deuce. Chris with top pair. Big Al's got a flush draw, though. 195 in the pot. Let's see, take a look here at Chris's sizing. 85. Kind of like it.
Yeah, around 40%,
yeah.
Maybe a little under. I think that seems about appropriate. I mean, it doesn't get too much drier.
Wow, look at that. Turns a queen. So Chris got top two now, but Big Al with a flush.
Is this a spot you're just going to be betting again, looking to get value from ace-x?
Oh, man, it's interesting. It's interesting. Without a spade in your hand, you might check. Chris does check, and Al bets 235. The real interesting part here, Gethin, is that I assume that Chris is going to check call. We see a brick. Can Chris lay it down on the river?
That is a tough one, because you don't see Big Al having almost any deuces in his range here.
River is a king. Now, Chris does beat a non-aces up hand. It would be aces and deuces with the king. Chris has aces and queens. 835. This is an interesting spot because sometimes, not always, but sometimes. Now, did Chris just block the river here?
It looks like he led the river pretty small.
He bet 375 here, so Chris has blocked the river.
No, you go up the ground. Yeah.
And I'm not sure here. And Al is going to raise.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to block 375 and you get raised here, I wouldn't even expect that Al was going to raise with an 8-high flush. I mean, to 855, this has to be a bet fold, right? I think Chris was trying to get called by an ace.
One of those spots where if Chris had checked the river and Big Al bets, you got to wonder, what is he really betting there? You would think that most of the time, if he just has an ace-x hand, he's just going to check back and assume he chops with other ace-x hands, and obviously he's losing to a flush, and losing to ace-king, ace-queen. So.
All in.
Whoa, look at this. Harry just moved all in. Over the top of Chris's 3-bet, Chris has ace-queen, and Harry has moved all in with ace-8. Now, I have seen Chris make an all-in with ace-queen, but I don't know if he's going to call off here. Remember, he did have to just bet fold last hand.
And he agonized over that 10-9 earlier, so he's not someone who loves to fold.
Yeah.
Cash plays too. No, Cash doesn't play.
He calls!
Ow.
Oh, wow, he calls!
Doesn't matter.
He calls with ace-queen. I thought that one was going in the muck.
Once. Only once.
Got him.
And they're going to go one time here.
Deuce good.
Oh, they chop it! They chop it!
Ace high good.
Oh, wow. Chris with the ace-queen with the ace of clubs. Chop it up. Pocket jacks here for Chris.
Harry, I got your back.
And he limped in?
I got your back.
Wow, that's somewhat shocking.
100.
And BJP is going to raise it with sixes.
All good, man.
We're going to see another limp re-raise.
I
here.
don't know if I've ever seen Chris limp re-raise.
I think Jacks is an unusual
Yeah.
hand to pick as well.
Damn. I got cigars
Is that
everywhere.
a come up?
Ow.
You know, I don't think she ever.
And that guy's pretty tight, the British guy. So Mike Chris
We all
just
are. We all are.
Sam Trickett too. He just calls. You know, it's sort of an interesting spot for Chris because you sort of want to shut the action off, but like you weren't expecting the other sort of nitty player.
And the other nitty guy, the English, the Brit, only has 850 behind too. I mean, that might be a spot where you just say, well, I've got jacks, I'm going to get it in with them.
Ma'am, you want a glass?
Check.
Bam, bam.
10-4-3. This is going to be interesting here for BJP, how he plays it.
I wouldn't be surprised if he does make a small continuation bet here.
Cocktail? It's okay, I'll share with her.
Maybe somewhere around 130, 100.
165. I didn't get a no.
Oh, it's a little bit bigger.
Start.
You're saying there is
You got a shot. Slim, but shot.
Still the best line
ever, right?
ever. That's the best.
You know,
line.
I'll go get a glass.
Oh, Jenny's here.
Everybody our
Can we
age
get a
knows
glass?
exactly what
Just
that
one
is.
glass, babe.
Yeah, right?
Come on, peekaboo.
The best.
Turn here is a 7, and we're looking at one pot-sized bet left. Front door clubs, back door hearts here,
I know I read a
Geffen.
lot about him.
BJP has actually picked up additional equity. He has a gutter to a 5 now.
He was a little bit cuckoo.
This is actually a pretty crazy spot.
This is a very tricky
This is a
spot.
crazy spot for Chris.
Yeah.
He's getting 2-1, but remember, BJP, who's got the lowest VPIP, raised out of the blind, and he has double barreled all in. And look, I think Chris is going to fold.
Where's Anthony?
He's in mine, man. He gave up on mine.
And people in the chat can be like, how can you fold? How can you fold? I definitely can see a fold here.
I mean,
Given
given
this
the fact
action.
that there's two, like now there's a front door flush and a back door, that might be enough for him to hang on. But he does
Chris
have.
got them both
I
in
was
his
going to
hand.
say he's blocking both, which is probably not the ideal situation. I don't think I'm going to see a fold here too often though, and I think Chris has done this a few times. The kind of squirm, play with his cards, and then he still found a call. So.
You want my cream cheese?
No, I don't need
And he's muttering to himself. When you're sitting there in this sort of situations, are you trying to think, am I ahead here, or are you just trying to stay as still and calm as possible when you're in BJP spot?
Yeah, I just try to, I mean, I don't do any reverse types of tells or anything like that.
Give it a clock, please. Give me a minute.
Still remember my first experience where I thought I was betting for value on the river, and they start squirming and talking, and you realize that you are in fact actually behind. And that feeling of, oh, I was betting for value, to, oh God, please don't call, is that cold sweat down the back of your neck. He does call, does he?
No, he hasn't done anything yet.
No, he's just
It's getting
tapping
about,
his shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's getting about 2-1 here.
Come from the UK, take my money.
Well, someone's got to pay for the
He hasn't
airfare.
even won a pot yet.
Someone's got to pay for the airfare.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it cost him some money.
I mean, I it's so hard for me to think about me being in the spot because I'm not
Right.
going to win jacks under the gun here,
Yes,
like
she's
ever.
bringing it. She's bringing it.
So,
Yeah, the other girl's bringing it. Thank you.
you know, if you were to tell me I raised, a couple people called, and then BJP 3-bet me, and it went bet all in, yeah, I could definitely fold jacks, you know. And he does fold.
Let's go.
So Harry says he called blind, which I believe, and Chris now, I mean, the steam could really be
Okay, so
coming
it's
out of
better
the
for
ears.
you
Going to
then.
3-bet to
So it's great. It
175.
Maybe if you make it 60, he folds.
Queen 9 of diamonds.
Now you got what you wanted. After that statement, you
Looks
just
like
let
Ron's
go.
coming along with
Now your head
ace
looks
4
really
off.
weak,
Yeah.
Ron.
And
Now it looks much
Eldar,
weaker
King
than.
8 of hearts.
Okay,
You want two different ones. Perfect.
Oh, it's a plan. Okay. So the queen
I have-
deuce is
I have a
suited.
plan.
So the queen deuce is suited.
Check.
It's hearts. Can't be hearts.
9-7 deuce with a couple hearts.
Interesting flush,
Wow,
yeah.
Eldar here with a flush draw. Chris with top pair.
And a
Eldar
backdoor
slow playing.
diamond draw to go with
Yep.
it.
Yes, sir.
Now Eldar is out of
We
position
were okay.
here.
We're
I
good.
imagine
Thank
that.
you.
390.
I appreciate
Wow,
it.
390. Boy, that's a large sizing here.
I was going to say they're pretty deep, but when you're
Jenny
Yeah.
from
betting
the
this
block.
sort of size, the pot's
Did you
going to
say
get
that?
pretty
You know how bad that
substantial.
sounds
Well, this
when
is going to be
you say
interesting.
Jenny
If a
from the
heart
block?
comes, I wonder how
Because that
Eldar
sounds
played it.
like
I did an
she's,
entire podcast that came out today
He's
about
from the block.
No.
turn play with a draw. Turn is a king.
Because just
I mean, I
like
think
in
this is a
general,
value
if you
bet if
say
I'm
Jenny
Chris
from
here.
the block,
Bet
the
here,
king-
then look to check
Yeah,
back the
I mean,
river.
she's
Yeah,
been
bet
around the
maybe bet
block.
500-600 and
Da.
She has been. You know
She
that?
has?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
There's just
then-
no real reason. There's
Okay,
really
okay.
no
That's
way.
good,
While
that's good,
Eldar
that's
picks
good.
up the best hand with the king, I was going to say
Yeah.
there's no real way that
that a sock,
Eldar
really?
is connected with that king unless he had the
Oh,
king high
really?
flush draw.
Absolutely. And a hand like,
Jenny from
10
the
jack
block.
of hearts here is
Yeah.
never folding.
I like this bet even
Is
though
there
he's
a sock,
behind.
Chris, from
Eldar
the
just
hood?
happens to have the one hand. Let's see how much he bets.
730.
Oh, 730. Boy, that's a big bet. Now, this could
All in?
I was going to say, is Eldar just going to move it? Wow, if Chris ever levels himself into thinking that Eldar is somehow doing this with a combo draw, Chris is almost drawing dead. This could be the worst case scenario because Eldar has the one hand where Chris is just, well, Chris is drawing dead against the set too, but
you got to think that there's some percentage of the time that Eldar's going to check raise the set on the flop. So
yeah, Eldar tends to fast play hands on draw heavy boards. So
and you don't necessarily always see him check raising a King X of Hearts here. He might think I've got some showdown.
well, I was actually I think it's because Chris bet so big. I mean, I was gonna say I think this will go 600 call, and then I was gonna say Chris is gonna tilt out of his mind on the river. If go check, he's gonna lose. He's gonna be so pissed off, but he's actually facing an all-in here.
So when you see this check raise here, like you don't necessarily think that Eldar's going to have King X of Hearts. You're more likely to think he's going to have a hand like
King 7,
maybe King 7, or even a big combo draw that you're actually beating.
right, Queen Jack of Hearts,
so
10-8 of Hearts.
Absolutely, like Chris could level himself into thinking that his 9 here is good.
Donate $5.
And he does call.
Twice? Okay, 2 times.
And they're going to run it twice here. He's got 9% equity. There's the heart for Eldar. There's the heart for Eldar.
You called it.
I mean, I don't know if that's going to tilt Chris, the fact that he was only 9%, but he's going to get stacked. Oh, wow, Chris has got pocket kings here.
What a great situation to wake up with kings. Everyone thinks you're steaming and you pick up a big hand.
I wonder if Harry just wants to play with him. I mean, he's got Queen 7 off. I'm just talking out loud here, you know. I
mean,
could see it. So no,
it's muted, but I imagine Harry isn't muted right now.
Looks like we still got the table mic down here. Eli, deuce 4 of diamonds. And maybe Ron's playing this hand blind here. He likes to play the hand blind sometimes. Well, Eli is called. Oh, deuce 4. But there's an ace out there. Boy, Chris might have gone through the roof if that came out like Queen 4 deuce. The ace has actually saved Chris here. He probably doesn't know it. And these guys might have a lot of ace-x here. I think I'm going to be checking back.
I think I would be checking back here. You don't need a lot of protection against other hands. If you have a hand like 9...
Oh, look at the turn! Ron makes 7s and deuces, and Eli has deuce 4.
With a flush draw as well.
Bottom 2 with a flush draw against 7 deuce. This is... What an unbelievable turn. Eli bets 150 here. And Ron...
And Chris
is going to raise to 400.
And it makes an easy fold for Chris, who's probably thinking, what have I done to deserve this? But
no, I think this is a very standard just call. Now, people might look at this, I've got 2 pair and a flush draw, but when Ron raises turn, I don't think he's doing that with a single pair of ace.
I agree. I think it's going to be ace-7 a lot of the time. You're also blocking some of the other two. You have the worst 2 pair, and you're going to be blocking some of the other hands. It's hard to imagine that he does this with a flush draw.
Yeah. I think this is just a call. I would just call here. But it looks like, is Eli going to re-raise? Yeah, he is going to re-raise. I just think that Ron just always is going to have a better 2 pair. We have the worst 2 pair. He's just going to have a better 2 pair a lot here. But the 3-bet here. And you can see he actually still has 25% equity.
Yeah, I mean.
And Ron is concerned because Ron really has one of the worst 2 pairs
you can have, exactly.
I mean, against this specific hand, there's a possibility that Ron might fold here. Eli coming out of the small blind could have a lot of aces up in 5-3. No, just an all-in. Oh, a call. Yeah, an all-in. And now, I mean, Eli with 2 pair and a flush draw, you probably have equity against the straight, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see him. I saw his eyes widen a little bit. I don't think he was expecting the all-in, but...
And I imagine that they're going to run it twice like they usually do.
Eli seems fairly short, or Ron's fairly short. One of them doesn't seem to be. I don't know if the graphics aren't right, but this part has got up over
Ron was short. Ron was short.
4.5K out there, and 4 deuce and 7 deuce. It's not usually the matchup you're expecting, but.
So here we go to the river. I think they're going to run it. Well, there's diamonds. So Eli's going to win the first one. Oh, and there's diamonds again! And deuce 4 of diamonds there. And Ron, that is, you know, you look at that, and probability-wise, you know, you run it twice, you're a 25% favorite. In order for you to win both times, you just multiply 0.25 times 0.25. It's probably like maybe 6 or 7%.
For me on the button in that spot.
So 5-way action here. Once again, this one's limped around. No straddle in this pot. And Derek has flopped the stones here with a
Check for
wheel
spades,
with
guys.
deuce 3 off on the button. Oh, and
two
4-5 for the Brit.
Yeah.
4-5 from the Brit. The
Maybe.
Brit could get in trouble here.
Watch.
The Brit could get
It's all right.
into
I'll
some
drive
trouble.
him home.
You drive him back to
I can drive to the airport.
Yorkshire.
Yorkshire. Oh, that's a little out of the way. But,
Raise it up.
And there's the check raise.
wow.
There's the king 4.
25
There's the king
here
four
with the
raising.
wheel.
Raised to
See what
150.
happened to
BJP to
You left early, bro.
150
You
with
fucked up all the cards when you
5-4.
left motion.
Let me cover, bro. How much you got?
He turned, dude. He turned. He has bottom 2. He has like.
Are you just calling here, or are you going to be putting in a
Twice,
third bet?
You just told me I felt that.
Looks like he is going to
well,
3
you
bet.
left the table. You fucked up the cards.
There's a lot of cards that sort of changed the nut. Did he call?
Thank you.
Oh, I thought he 3 bet. He did just call. Let's see if we see a clean turn. 7. Okay, it's not a heart. I mean, I don't think.
Oh, how did the action go on?
You know, obviously 6-7 pairs up now. I mean, 6-8
Yeah,
would
but what the
be.
fuck
But I
is
mean, there's a
wrong
guy
with you?
betting
Doesn't have
6-8,
6-3.
6-3.
It's probably going to have to be 6-8
Call him, he's gonna have the
of hearts
tattoo.
or 6-3 of hearts, you would
And
think.
Derek
got
is
it?
not
Oh,
that
it's-
deep. He's only 825.
No.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
This is going to be kind of interesting here because, you know, yeah, betting it
Yeah.
all in. It looks like it was 220.
One-way ticket to paradise.
Yeah, so
is
it's
what
he's going to
got.
get about just under 3-1 here, Gaffin.
2, 3, 7.
And he doesn't have any blockers to the draws. I probably have a hard time getting away from this one. I mean, you are.
I mean,
do
could
have the
Derek
worst-
have like ace-x a diamond? You
Right.
know what I mean? It's just like, you know, the problem here is you now lose to ace-7 too. You know. Yeah, and he's gonna call.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And we
to
get
see
another
that.
91 to 9%.
Oh, remember how?
We're gonna run it twice. Let's see the first one. River is an 8. Need a 5 or a 4 here. And the second river
You're winning ball.
is,
A mystery.
guys, second river.
Rebate time! Motherfuckers!
Obviously, it wasn't a 5 or a 4.
It wasn't a 5 or a 4,
I
no.
know.
Purple rain!
We may be a little mellow as Brits, but we generally celebrate a little bit more than throwing our hand away.
Purple rain! Purple rain!
And Yana's got aces here. She's going to make it
Let's see
50.
a flap.
Wow,
They
and
said
Harry
there's
is
no
just
bad
flat
cards.
called jacks in a
There's only
normal
bad
3-betting
cards. And then you would get the
situation.
queen on the flop.
Remember, I said that
The
he's
second
sort of
board,
a
you got
moody
queen.
player. I
Called.
think he's feeling good. The wine's
Heads up.
flowing and he's up.
Four-way heads up.
He folded ace-queen before. And Ron's got a flush draw. So Yana with aces. Ron's got a flush draw, so we know that Ron's not going anywhere here.
150.
150 from Yana. Harry is
This
going to
pot.
call with jacks next to act.
3
Quick call from
players.
Israeli round behind.
Here we go to the turn. Oh, the turn's the queen of hearts. Ron had to dodge the ace or the jack of
I was
hearts.
going to say, the Jack of Hearts would have been a fun turn card, but
Check around.
Check through.
You could have mushed them, you know?
And the river is a king for a double paired board. Puke, 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 Geffen. I don't know if
Everyone
any
hates
money's going to
I
go
was
in.
going to say, everyone hates it, and Israeli round
Wow.
a much smaller
That
pot
is
than it could have been.
unbelievable, that run out. Wow. Well, Chris makes it 75, king, queen of spades, Al calls, and Ron's got aces now. Now, how much is he going to make it? Because I can't see Chris releasing here
No
with king,
talking
queen of
about.
spades unless
Unless
it's some
it's kosher.
ridiculous 3-bet amount, right?
I
Three
think
balls.
he's calling up to 400-500 easily.
Raise
yeah.
it up to 450.
How about 450?
Fold.
450.
Ballsters.
No, that's 4x plus, like, basically the call. I mean, it's not really that out of line here from out of
It
position.
just happens that the stacks get pretty short effective
Yeah.
with this signing, especially if he does get a call here.
I don't think I don't think Chris. You can't pry this hand out of Chris's seat right now. I just don't see him laying this one down. Even though Ron doesn't really 3-bet that much, the way that he makes the call. And
Bear Jew. Bear.
is there a
Jew.
possibility that Al might come in
Giant.
behind here on?
Yeah, what'd you have?
It's 375 for 1,000 with effective stacks of 27.55 back. Now he just folds. So we're gonna see it heads up here.
Same initials.
Eli there with 6-5 off.
I think we're going to see
I
it
was
heads
going to
up.
say, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll be caught out of
He
the
allegedly said he was going to raise me.
Well, I know what people are rooting for in the chat, but let's see the flop here.
No, 2.2, 2.3, like 2.4.
Oh, no! King 3-3.
language
It's not like Chris flopped a set of kings, but I just don't know, Gavin, if he's going to be able to get away from it.
What is this, Velvet? 2.7? 2.8?
I will say, though, that Ron usually uses very large sizing, and I would be very concerned that he would have ace king here.
Right, especially once
1150.
Wow.
1150.
Dos mil.
Over the size of the pot on King 3-3 in a
You're gonna
3
see
bet.
that on too many training sites.
Is that an optimal sizing, Geffen?
I mean, I would have to run that one entire, but I don't think we're going to be seeing a just over pot size bet here. He isn't blocking hearts, I guess, but Chris has definitely got a tough decision.
If Chris
there.
can lay this one down, you got to give him credit. The way that he, I mean, I sort of ragged on him for his behavior, but I will certainly give him credit for his play if he can fold here. The only thing I can really see Ron doing this would be maybe ace queen of hearts, but I mean, that's one combination.
Right.
He's doing it with aces, and he's doing it with ace king. Obviously, he's not doing it with kings, right? But I mean, there are still...
He just doesn't have any threes in his three betting range. So.
But there's still 8 combos of ace king.
Call once or twice.
And an all-in and a call. Oh, wow. 91-9 again. Another 91-9.
Yeah, let's have some
And
fun.
Chris, they're going to run it twice. Chris gets it in with king-queen.
I
All
want to see both ends.
right, let's see the board here. Chris needs a king. Wow.
Shalaka laka.
There's a 4. Oh,
Oh,
Chris
that's-
going to win the first one. Wow. 4. And they're going to chop it up. Wow, Ron just
You are
cannot believe
not
it.
playing good today, Chris.
So Chris gets saved
Gets
there.
saved. But not necessarily saved by
Ron is not happy there.
Harry lays into Chris
2,000
a
in the
little
box.
bit.
Can I get a man?
Did any go in?
Clearly Ron is
Did you want it?
definitely raging inside right now. That's-
Okay,
that's
the end
been-
of the night, my hands
night
are
could be
not
looking
in
very
play. They're going to have to
different right
guess.
So 50 by 6 ways here. 300 in the pot, 4-7 deuce. Chris with a
Check.
small overpair, and I believe he brought this one in for a raise.
That for TV only?
Doesn't look like anybody really
As much.
did any. I think Chris, did Chris? No, Chris has not checked here. This is always kind of a cheeky situation here, Geffen, here on 7-4 deuce with 2 hearts with a small overpair. You do need a little bit of protection,
Whoa,
right?
whoa, whoa, whoa!
Hey,
Touch your
hey,
chest.
hey,
What kind of
I mean,
masseuse?
7 deuce.
Touching your chest. Damn! What's going on? Whoa, whoa! Oh!
I like the nose spear.
I feel like I'm at a soccer match right now,
I like
although
the
we
nose
would
ring.
call it
That's good.
football because you use
Whoa.
your feet,
Yeah.
you know.
He's not coming back for
Not
at
gonna
least
get
3
into that
hours.
debate
Got
with
you,
him.
man.
Enjoy. Derek, enjoy Audrey.
Room 104. Room 104, suite. Give him the key.
Enjoy, Derek.
So it does look like Chris
Call me Audrey.
bets out
185, yeah.
Oh my God.
Eldar is the only one that had a piece of this. He's got a pair of 4s.
8675309. 8675309. Jenny, I got your number. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What
The
happened?
answer is yes.
Wow, all right, so I was going to say, there's a lot of cards that can turn
Dealer,
Eldar
I got 30
equity.
stock.
Eldar now with the open-ended straight draw
Good as that, mate.
and a pair.
And Chris has
me
got to
stop.
feel like a 5 is a pretty
Suck
safe card.
With that gutter to his 6 here, Eldar has reverse implied
Hey,
odds
every
to
time
a
there's
6.
a $5 for the drop, guess where it go?
Really,
360.
Got it.
Pleasant spot for
You put a 5 here.
360 and a call, so
Oh,
Eldar
that's
needs to actually hit a 4 here, an ace,
I bet one for the first time.
or a
so
3. A
lucky.
6 is no good.
You are so lucky.
And the river's a 4!
Hey, what
Oh,
you
backdoor
doing?
clubs come in. Let's see how he plays it. Is he gonna bet here? Oh, he checked right away. Did he check right away?
the graphics are saying yes, but he looks like
I don't know if he's done anything yet. And Chris is gonna value own himself.
Go to Glendale.
Do you think you'd be taking
Yeah.
8 for 3 streets?
Glenda, you say, what is Armenia? You get shot.
775 and a call, and let's see Chris's reaction.
Okay.
Am I a bad person
We have
because
to
I
get-
enjoy witnessing the pain on other people's faces?
No,
Okay,
I
guys,
Button move.
we have to get Chris in the lab. He needs to go back to the poker lab.
Got
125
about
more.
just over a half an hour left here.
125 more.
Eldar. Ron, let me say it in English a lot faster. He had the best hand on the turn. River, flush twice. One card. He lose. I understand Hebrew.
So Eli is
9
gonna
of diamond, 8 of diamond. Wow, yeah.
race it
wow.
out of the straddle.
I know your response. There. 4 to 1 underdog twice. Sock out over here.
Heads up.
Wow.
And Eldar limp calls with King
Chevet.
7
Of the
offsuit.
two hands that had a 7 in it, the
How you
king
say
7
this?
off was the one I was expecting to see a flop.
Eli flops the nut flush draw here, and this will just go bet fold up short.
175.
Eli is also having a big day. Well, I thought it was going to go bet fold, Gethin. If the
Again.
cards are correct, Eldar is choosing a optimistic hand to float here,
That's hot,
Let's
man.
pick up some equity on the turn.
Diamonds once. Fuck 3 times.
and that's a bad barrel card. If I've got ace 3 of clubs, I feel like I
Right.
probably wouldn't be betting here. It's going to work. He has the best hand anyways, but
A lot of hands are going to be
Yeah.
pair plus draw or 2 pair at this point, or even some straights, obviously. So I think this 350 is going to take it down, but again,
And Eldar raises to
Here we go.
is this? I mean, I have
Guys,
the
can
question: Am
anybody
I
play
seeing the
Hotel
right
California?
cards here?
Because Ryan told me that not to play music, but he told me that doesn't mean you can you please play it?
775 with
By the
pure
Eagles,
air.
Hotel California.
Eldar does have a gutter to a
In
10,
the doorway.
and it will be interesting because if you're Eli, you
Ba,
just
ba, ba, bow.
call, and if this goes bricked
stuck
out,
into
is
myself.
Eldar gonna fire another barrel? Here we go to the river, and it's clean. It's the 4 spades.
How are massages? And if he sends you a text,
Will Eldar pull the trigger? Is ace 3 of clubs going to win 2,200 here, or is Eldar going to fire? He checked it back!
I always wonder that.
And the cards are correct. The cards are correct.
You need the other to give you a massage so we can
Wow.
So to give you a massage so we can promote
hard
it.
to make a pair in Hold'em, but usually not that hard. But the game's not, there's not quite this
Chris's
sort of classic
standard
where-
open sizing has certainly started to get larger. He's now going 6x. And Harry's going to give him some action now. We don't know what his hand is.
I don't think Harry cares too much. He's been holding it over on Chris tonight, and any opportunity to get in a couple of good needles here.
Don't worry about that shit.
3 players. Check.
And Ron calls with the good old 10-4 offsuit. Chris flops top pair with the king of hearts. We don't know what Harry has. His chips are over his center.
200.
Chris has bet 200. So, Gethin, this is actually one of my favorite parts is when we can basically speculate. So we're going to go blind here.
Heads up.
Chris's bet 200. Harry calls. Next to act. Turn is a 5. Pretty inconsequential card.
Yeah,
Puts
I
out backdoor clubs.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a check here from Chris.
The face of disgust when the king of the river came.
And he does check.
When against you, Chris.
I love it. Walking.
The king of the river came. You're just like.
I called your hand. I said you're ace.
And we don't know what Harry has. I assume that Chris is going to check call here.
I think check folding is way too weak.
Yeah. And Harry overbet the pot. Oh, no, excuse me. I thought he bet 400. He bet 400 into 700, so just a hair over half the size of the pot here. I mean, I think there's nothing that Chris can do but call.
But call, right, and then a value-weight,
Yep.
rivers.
About 1 pot size bet left here as we roll to the river. The river's a heart.
Interesting.
Wow. That's a bad card, I think, for Chris. I mean, he does have the king of hearts, but if Harry were to bet again, you're only beating like a queen 10 type of hand here.
Check.
Let's see what Harry does.
I mean, there's a fair few draws that aren't hearts out there, obviously. A lot of 10-9s.
1,400.
And he's going to
Wow.
bet the pot. What a great spot for our viewers. We don't know what Harry has. We can play along with Chris. Chris has the king of hearts in his hand, which is actually bad for his bluff catching, right?
And also a 10, which is bad for his bluff catching,
Yep.
because he's blocking hands like queen 10, 10-9,
Harry called next to act when Chris c-bet on
with
the
a player
flop.
behind.
So what will we do here?
No, I don't think he's gonna fold.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I don't know if Chris is going to fold or not here, just the way that this night has been going. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Harry is not bluffing.
You know
Right.
how
That's
I'm
my
playing all
prediction.
night.
We've been wrong the
that's
whole night.
reasonable. I think we've seen Harry tighten up. We've seen a few spots where he could have 3-bet and he's just called, and we've seen him fold a couple of spots where he could have called all 3-bet. So I wouldn't be surprised to show value. I don't like having a hand like King 10. I would hate a hand to have a hand actually more like King 10 with the 10 of hearts as well, but it's a tough spot. The sizing, I love the sizing from Harry here on the river.
Well, he's polarized, right?
Yeah. Putting maximum pressure here, because there is some draws that got in, but there's also some draws that miss.
But like you said, we're talking about, Chris got the King of Hearts, he's got a 10. I think the 10 hurts him. It looks like he wants, but we've seen this move before.
Right. And with a lot of players, this means I'm folding.
And he does,
Chris,
it looked like he
I
does
should
fold.
put it down.
And Harry had a flush. He had a flush. And he actually had a combo draw on the flop.
With a 9 for a straight.
Yeah.
Got him. He knows how to
Yeah,
play
so
solid.
Chris makes the fold there.
Service.
I don't fucking get it in with nothing.
Yeah.
I have a feeling you're saying
Your
the
feeling
I,
is
but
good.
you're feeling something
Your
else.
feeling is
Mutual or
spot on.
spot on? See?
Straddle, please.
I got good feelings today. Is it?
I got to actually record top section
will,
tonight. I'm texting
contest.
Conlon telling him that I'm going to be late.
With the call.
Straddle, 20. Raise 125.
I just got a text. I'll tell you later from whoever it is. Oh, never mind. It's about you, but it's funny. So.
And Yana here with 2 red jacks.
You know he plays. Oh, okay. Asian.
Just a call.
So it looks like Ron raised it up with the mystery.
Yeah, Ron raised up with a mystery hand here from +1. Yana calls.
Should we just see 8s go into the muck?
An 8's one in the muck from the straddle, yeah. Ace 10-7 here. We don't know what Ron has.
Bet 150.
He's going to bet 115. And if I'm Yana against that sizing, I'm certainly going to take 1 off here.
I think taking 1
Hand
off.
is
I'm
under
that.
hoping
bet.
for him to check the turn.
Follow my love.
Yeah, turns a 5. And Ron will make these bets with like 8s,
There.
9s. And
Right.
it goes
You
check,
play like
check.
that,
River here is a 6. I feel like Yana's going to have the best hand here. But wow, she checks and Ron's going to bet. We had to turn it down here for a second because Harry's sort of going crazy. 400. And again, this is interesting too because we've got a mystery hand here. I would have totally expected this to go check, check if I was in Yana's spot, playing a lot with Ron. I'm trying to figure out what Ron could have here.
Do you think there's
Could he
even,
back into like pocket 6s?
I mean, or 8, 9 that just didn't.
Does 8-9 not barrel
I would
turn?
think it would, but he sometimes does play some of his.
Because he rarely will check back an ace here on
Right,
the turn.
that's what I mean. I would have expected this to go check from him on the river and us have a decision with jacks of do I want to go for some thin
Right,
thin
on
value.
the turn, yeah. But when she checked it, I totally expected it to go check, check. That's a nice shot there by the camera, by the way.
I'm not even going to look at the chat right now.
I just don't know. I mean, let's see. And what does he have here? Can we get a shot? 8-4. He rivered a straight. That's why I don't mind. I might look that one up. It's so weird, Geffen. He opened 8-4 and made it at the end.
I'll mess it up for sure.
It looks like Big Al is either limped here under the gun plus 1.
Perhaps so, yeah.
Fucking asshole.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
an unusual straddle. But
No kicking.
looks like there's 2 ace kings out there right now.
Yeah.
With only 900 behind, I can't imagine this doesn't get in pre-flop
You
here.
called?
Big
Yeah.
Al looks for a limp re-raise.
Have you even won a pot tonight? Except for the bluffing ones. Just the bluff ones. Like straight up win a pot with a good hand.
No, not yet.
Australia Ron calls with Queen 10. Don't think he's
5?
going to enjoy when he sees the limp raise from Big Al. Or was that just did Big Al just call? He just limp called it.
Yeah,
looks like.
he limp called. Wow, 4 ways, 890.
Ooh,
BJP probably doesn't expect to see that type of action. Eldar's got the best hand
Of
with
course, he has
8-6.
8-6 off. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't that be the best hand?
Wow,
Take this from me. Here.
unbelievable.
BJP basically with pop behind right now.
Let's start with that. So that's 2.
That's not 20. It's like 19.
Go, Sammy.
Oh, sorry.
I was trying to put myself in their positions, but I just don't know if I would ever find myself in this position.
Turns the 9 of hearts, so we've got BJP with the nut flush draw now with ace king. Eldar still has the superior equity though with 1 card to come. Eldar checks. And now BJP moves all in for a pot-sized bet. And now is Eldar going to fold, given this action? Does this look to you, Geffen, like the ace of hearts sometimes from the... You're British.
Yeah, I mean, we all look alike. We've all gone to the same school. This is the British way to do it. We pick up some equity on the turn and we bet basically pot, which is all in here. I wouldn't be surprised to see a call here from
Yeah,
Eldar.
Eldar's getting 2 to 1.
It over.
He's up. I mean, the dude checked the flop.
Right, how often are you really checking back with that,
You'll-
like that many ways, right? Like
Right.
maybe heads up you might take back a hand like aces and kings, but in these multi-way spots, slow playing just can get you into so much trouble, particularly on a board like 6-4 deuce with a
Yeah,
flush
he doesn't like it, but he calls. He makes the right call. They might run it more than once. Let's see. Looks like just once.
Perhaps I should mute my microphone as I start to celebrate if he does win one of these, but so far...
Oh, they run it twice, so Eldar wins the first, and Eldar wins the second, and he is crushing. Eldar is going to be up over $6,500 to $7,000.
England may well need to get a payday loan. So, as a group tonight, things have not gone so well for us. We're down around 3 and a bit thousand.
You can tell your friends you got felted by another BJ.